Hello and welcome to That VidBlaster Guy on this 5th of June, 2013. I'm Tom Sinclair, That VidBlaster Guy. Glad to be with you today. I tell you what, today is like a test case for how to get on the air when everything else goes awry. I'll tell you that story in just a second. You'll get a kick out of it, I'm sure. The basic premise of the show is that one guy can do, with one PC, not a room full of PCs, not a bunch of PCs, but with one PC can do one awesome broadcast. The concept is you don't have to have a room full of computers. You just have to have a room, a single computer, and the right software. And I really honestly believe that VidBlaster is the right software to make this happen. And with one PC, one guy can do a church broadcast, can do an event broadcast, can do a talk show broadcast like this, can do sports broadcasting. I've done sports broadcasting all by myself before. It's much easier when you have other folks manning cameras. But the concept is one guy at the controls of one PC can make it all happen, and VidBlaster is the heart of that. And let me just say right up front, this is full disclosure, I am a VidBlaster, authorized VidBlaster reseller, which means if you want to buy VidBlaster, you can buy it from me. If you go to VidBlaster, what is the name of my website? ThatVidBlasterGuy.com. and go to the store, you can buy VidBlaster right now. If you have a home version, you can upgrade it. If you have any version virtually, you can upgrade it, and you get full credit for the money you've already spent on the old version towards the upgraded version. If you have questions about that, shoot me an email, tom@thatvidblasterguy, or use the contact form on our website, thatvidblasterguy.com. Okay, got the full disclosure out of the way. I am a VidBlaster believer. I really am. VidBlaster is the software I've been waiting for all my life. I remember searching for it and finally finding it and just, not believing it. And that was back in version 0.47 or something like that. And today, we get version 3.11, which is a version with my name on it. I can't believe it. I am humbled. I'm embarrassed. And I'll tell you that story in just a second. And I'm thrilled. I really am thrilled. And I'm honored. I'm honored that the developer of VidBlaster, Mike Versteeg, would think enough of me. Well, he sent me an email earlier today, and he said, if it doesn't work, I'm going to blame you. So he's going to throw me right under the bus. But that's okay. I'm used to being under the bus. It's familiar territory. The whole concept is that I get to be out there on the edge and make all these mistakes, and anybody that wants to and is wise can learn from my mistakes. Now, there's nothing better than learning from your own mistakes, there's no doubt. But I'm hoping that I can save you a little time and trouble in getting going with what it is you want to do. Because nobody wants to sit around really and talk about broadcasting all the time. I mean, that's my gig. But you probably want to do what it is you want to do, and use VidBlaster as a tool to do it. And if I can save you, an hour, 6 hours, 10 hours of troubleshooting, or hundreds or thousands of dollars in trying out different pieces of hardware to find what works, I'm happy to do that. And if you haven't already, whether you're watching live or watching on YouTube, go back and look at some of the old shows that we did earlier this year and last year. They weren't really great shows, I understand. But the content of those shows makes them worth watching, where we go back to our studio tour where we showed the capture card graveyard, all the capture cards that I've purchased, trying to find that sweet spot between price and function. And, that search continues to go on. We'll talk more about that in just a second. In fact, I need to make a note that we want to talk about that, because that's going to be exciting. The reason why today is such a mess is because I had the whole morning blocked out. It's 3:10 Eastern Time USA right now, and I had the whole morning blocked out this morning to do some testing with the new 3.11 version. 3.11, yeah, that's right. I thought I added an extra one. And I was going to do a demonstration and record a video that I could show here on the show of the instant replay playlist, because I wanted to do that. And I wanted to use my Korg Nano Control or the macros on my regular keyboard to control the instant replay, because I think that's going to be really sweet and something that you can do yourself in terms of programming. You've got to have you've got to have the studio or the broadcast versions to do that. But it still works with the keyboard. I mean, with the mouse, so you can use it with any version. All of that stuff was my plans for today's show, as well as to show you some other tips and tricks, and that just went sour. I was setting up. In fact, let me tell you the story. For those of you that were in the pre-show, sorry you've already heard this story before, because I just had to get it off my chest. I was just so frustrated, and I appreciate your patience. But last night I was playing. I call it testing, but we all know the truth. You're just playing around because it's fun. I was playing with some new stuff. I had ordered a powered USB hub because I remember reading on the VidBlaster forum.vidblaster.com, that somebody had some good success with a powered hub, an inexpensive powered hub, and plug in more than just a couple of cameras, webcams into it. And I've been meaning to test that for a long time, and finally, sat down and ordered a couple of extra easy caps and this powered hub, and they all arrived yesterday. So I thought, okay, this is great. I had my laptop set up and thought, well, I'll try this on my good old Dell Core 2 Duo laptop, and if it works there, it's certainly going to work on my broadcast machine. So I plugged it all up, plugged the cameras in, and had two Canon, Canon Vixia HF100s plugged in through two easy caps, and then I had a Logitech C310 and a Microsoft LifeCam. So I had 4 cameras in all, and was bringing those into VidBlaster one at a time. And actually, at one point, had 4 cameras working, but was not able to. It must have been just an anomaly of some kind, because the only way I could reliably get it to work was to go with 3 cams, and that 4th cam just never would show up in the camera module, which tells me that USB bus was probably overloaded. So I thought, well, that's pretty cool. I got 3 cams up and running on an old laptop, running Windows Vista or whatever it is. No, I guess I did upgrade it to Windows 7. So it's decent. It's not real fast. Just 2 cores. No extra threads or anything. Nothing fancy. But I thought, okay, let's take that apart, bring it in here to the studio, hook it up to the production machine, and see how, certainly we can get 4 cameras. If we got 3 cameras on a laptop, we can get 4 cameras here. So I start plugging everything in, and I'm just excited because this is going to be a great show, and I can't wait to duplicate what I did last night, because it's only going to take me 5 or 10 minutes because I've already done it on another machine, right? And so I'm plugging everything in, and I go to fire it up, and I'm only getting 2 cameras. And I thought, oh, yeah, I should get at least 3, because I got 3 on the laptop, probably 4, and the USB hub has got 7 ports on it, so maybe I could get even more than 4. And no, I was getting 2, and I said, I really would like to use this to demonstrate the instant replay, so I can have lots of different shots of myself, so that we can kind of have essentially a 3 or 4 camera sports shoot, and we can show the instant replay from different angles. And so I said, okay, well, I'm going to hook this cam up to my Osprey card, and then I'm going to hook this cam directly up to its own USB port on a different USB controller, and in that way I can have 4 cams plus this cam. Would that be right? Yeah, 2 webcams, 2 camcorders, and then the webcam that I'm using for this show right now. Anyway, this story's taking way too long. I apologize. Anyway, I did all that, and I got 4 cameras going, And I thought, oh, this is pretty cool. And, Mike sent me this new, he didn't send it to me. I had to go to the website and download it like everybody else. I don't get any special treatment. And I downloaded and installed 3.11. And I said, I need to test this. Supposedly he has done something to improve the audio for me, because I've been having problems with audio. Or at least he says I've been having problems with audio. I didn't think I was. I mean, I did a while back, but that was something else. Anyway, and he'd sent me an email and asked me to send him some profiles and some other recordings, and I really meant to do that. I was going to get around to it, and it was just too. I don't have any good excuses. I'm a procrastinator. Anyway, so I installed 3.11. Everything's going great. I was like, let me make a little test recording here to see how the audio sounds. So I recorded something on the little recorder right there and brought it up in Windows Media Player over here. And I had all sorts of crackles and pops and kind of stutters in the audio. And, this is not good. This is not good. Whatever Mike did, it isn't working. And, and then I thought, well, excuse me. I thought, he couldn't have done anything that was going to make it worse. It wouldn't make sense. And I know Martin Kay consulted with Mike on this, and, they wouldn't have let something go that was sounding like this. I said, it's got to be something else. It can't be VidBlaster 3.11, the Tom special version. Heaven forbid. I mean, can you imagine? Anyway, so I start trying to track down where the problem is. And make a long story short, I remember that several months ago I had a similar issue, and it was, and all I could find out, and I never did fix it, I basically just, quarantine the problem. I think I've got a bad USB 3 controller or a bad port or a bad driver or something, but I plugged something into that USB 3, one of those USB 3 ports, and I think that's what caused this whole rigmarole. So I'm unplugging everything and plugging it around, and I can't get rid of the problem. In fact, it's worse. And at first I thought, well, maybe it's the mixer, maybe it's the mic, maybe it's something else. And finally tracked it down to the USB 3 problem. And remembered that I had had success by going in and disabling that port. So I went in and disabled it again. And an hour later, everything worked. Holy cow. But it's a great example of how, seemingly the least... That's not the right word. The simplest of additions to the broadcast machine really brought down the house of cards. It shouldn't have happened like that. And had I been thinking way back when, I would have taken a piece of tape and taped over that controller port, that USB port, so I wouldn't be tempted to plug anything in it. Actually, truth be told, if I wasn't such a procrastinator, I would have figured out really what the problem was and fixed it instead of just disabling it and moving on. But I really am one that likes to find a solution, get things working, and move on. And that's what I did, and it obviously has come back to bite me. So now you know the whole story. Now you know why you're not going to get all the things that I had hoped to get today out of today's show. So that's a long introduction to today's show. But on another note, I do want to send out a welcome to some new members of the VidBlaster family. We've got Martin Duffy with Duff TV in Tasmania, Australia. Martin has, if you follow the VidBlaster forum, you've seen Martin pop in recently and talk about buying VidBlaster and how he was going to use it. And he posted a cool video about his TV production truck and the PC that he was building. And I was just honored that Martin selected me to purchase his VidBlaster license from. And so actually he and I have corresponded by email, and we'd hoped to get him on the show today, but I think it was a little too early in the morning, and we weren't quite ready, but we'll try to get him on in the next week or two. It sounds like he's really got some interesting things going on, and he's excited, and it's going to be a lot of fun to have somebody like that on the show with us. So Martin, if you're watching, welcome to the family. Also want to welcome Robert Woolridge. If you recall the VidBlaster giveaway show, the giveaway month was that back in March, and Robert was one of he didn't win first prize, but he won second prize, and he got a $50 gift certificate to any purchase of VidBlaster, and shot me an email the other day and said he was ready to buy. And Robert is with Yellow Jacket, and I think it may be Yellow Jacket Productions, but it's YJ Jacket, something like that. Yellow Jacket on Twitter. You'll have to, and I'll dig that out and put it in the show notes so that you can track him down and see what he's doing. He is a young fellow from St. John's, Newfoundland and Labrador in Canada, and has got some really creative stuff coming down the pike. I mean, he's one of those guys that I can tell is really going to push the envelope and see what he can do. His demonstration for the VidBlaster contest back in March was really good. He was obviously learning a lot about VidBlaster and had only recently discovered it, I think, at that point. But that kind of youthful enthusiasm is always exciting and fun. So Robert, welcome to the family. And also want to welcome Chuck Gooch of Jackson Trail Media in Bethlehem, Georgia. Chuck purchased a VidBlaster license, again for me, thank you Chuck, over the weekend, and is going to use it with Jackson Trail Media. And Chuck, I hope you will shoot me some information on Jackson Trail Media so that we can add your productions to our links on our website, because we try as much as we can, folks using VidBlaster. We want you, if you're exploring VidBlaster, to see what some of the live productions look like from all over the world, not just this show. We've got some folks that are doing great things with sports and church, and I mean, and you talk about sports, basketball, football, soccer, European football, which we would call soccer. What was the game that we were talking about the other day? That game that you throw the ball at the guy and then you run back and forth on the field 22 yards until somebody throws the ball at you or something like that. Oh, cricket. That game just boggles the mind. Can't understand it. But one of the VidBlaster users had broadcast a cricket match in England. It was either over the weekend or last week, and had thousands and thousands of viewers. It was a match between, I guess, the English team and the Pakistani team, and had a huge audience. So VidBlaster's the tool. There's no doubt about that. Anyway, Chuck, we want to get you on the website when you're ready to do productions. Send me that info, and we'll get it there. And welcome to the family. So I'm delighted to have Chuck watching live today, as well as all the other guys that I see in the chat room. I can see that we've even got some Australians in the chat room today. So they're getting up and watching us over their morning coffee on Thursday, when it's really Wednesday here. I do have some other news. This is news that has just come down the pike yesterday. You may remember that Martin Kay, our good friend and VidBlaster reseller in Manchester, England, was on the show some months back and showed us a line of capture cards that was coming on the market. And he had gotten a hold of an evaluation copy, a demonstration copy, and did a video about it. And I think he posted it on his YouTube site, and it's in one of our shows on YouTube from past shows. And they are now being imported to the U.S. So if you're in the U.S. and would like information about that, I will have that by the next show. In fact, I think I'll even have links on my website to that. So, and these were capture cards. One in particular that is very interesting to me because it kind of bridges the gap between standard definition and high definition. And people ask me all the time, Tom, I'm interested in getting a PC from you, having you build me a VidBlaster PC, and I want to use it for X, Y, Z. And my first question is, well, do you want standard definition or do you want high definition? Well, this capture card bridges the gap because it has both. It has 4 ports of standard definition and 2 ports of high definition, all on the same card. So 6 ports of video input into a PC. I have an evaluation version coming to me. Martin K has already evaluated it, given it his thumbs up, and that's certainly a bigger thumbs up than anything I can give it. And so, but nevertheless, I am looking forward to getting it and looking at it and helping you guys get that available if you want to. I think they also have the same line of cards, has a 6-port standard definition card. So if you are definitely committed to standard definition, you can get 6 ports of video, standard definition video, very reasonably priced, and I'll have more information on that probably on the website sooner than next week, but on the show next week we'll kind of do a little presentation about that so that you can have more info. One of the things that I hope to do is and you can give me some feedback and tell me if this is a good idea or not, is basically to make available either to be purchased through my website or definitely links where you can go to these products that we're talking about. So if you can't remember what it was we were talking about, you can come to the website and have a link to either purchase it or go straight to the company and purchase it from them. And I think that that might make sourcing those products easier. And certainly, yes, we'll make a commission or some sort of revenue on them when we sell them. But that's the whole idea. We want to bring value to you, and one of the ways we bring value to you is by helping you with products that I have personally tested and that I know and trust. And it's kind of funny. I don't watch a lot of internet TV, but I watch some. I mean, I try to keep up with the guys at what is it, Tata for now, Tech Talk. Oh golly. Anyway, it's TTFN TV. Sorry, I can't call the name of it. Mark Johnson and Vance Willis. I like their show that comes on Tuesdays when we used to come on Tuesdays, but we couldn't take the competition. Stephen Haywood and Richard Cleveland doing Broadcast Now on Tuesdays. I like to catch that whenever I can. But there are other tech shows that I watch where they're pumping products, and I'm not convinced. I think they're just sort of reviewing products because that's what they do, but they're not really using them, and they're not really understanding how they work, the ins and outs of them, the shortcomings as well as the strengths. And that's the value that I hope to bring, that not just we get to see the strengths and the shortcomings of my favorite software, VidBlaster, because there are a few shortcomings, not many, but to say all the other parts of the puzzle that make up a really good system. I want to help out with those too. And I will make a plug at this point. If you've thrown your hands up in the air and you say, I know I want to do this, but Tom, I'm not into building PCs. I'm not into doing all the technical aspect behind it. I just want to plug it in and make it work. Call me. We'll have I think the numbers on our website. Shoot me an email, tom@thatvidblasterguy, or use the contact on the website, and we can talk about building something specifically for your needs, for what you need. Will it be as cheap as what you can get from Best Buy or someplace like that? No, but it will be customized to what you need, and it will work right out of the box the way you want it to work. That's the guarantee. and again, I think that brings value. So you'll definitely pay more for it than if you do it yourself. But that's the whole idea behind doing it. But do it yourself is fun too. So if you want to do it yourself and you've got questions about doing it yourself and you think I can help, I'm happy to have a go at that too. So we can definitely help with that for those of you that need it. Shoot me an email, drop me a line, and we can talk about it. Oh, let's see. So we got that. Let me, if y'all would bear with me just a second, I asked the guys that and gals that were live in the chat room if they would fire me some questions. So I want to catch up with them for just a second and see if we've got some questions, or if you guys have been waiting to ask questions. Now might be the time to do it, to pop them here into the chat room. Towards the tail end of the show, I'm going to open up the phone lines for those of you that want to call in. But I want to see, there's a question. Somebody's asking about the new Logitech camera that was supposed to be out in May. Yeah, I've been looking for that too. That's the C930E. I did find one guy online that had one and was reviewing it. I didn't think the review was particularly helpful. It was mostly an unboxing kind of thing. But I really am looking for one when they're available. And I love my C920 though. That's what I'm using here. People ask a lot, Tom, what kind of camera are you using? It looks really good. And it's just the C920. It's a webcam. I think really the key is certainly is the camera, but lighting. Lighting is so underrated. And having good lighting really it makes a lot of difference. Let's see if we've got any other questions here that we haven't covered. Here's a great question, and thank you for that. This is from somebody in the forum that says, can the trial version of VidBlaster work with MIDI control? And the answer is yes. The trial edition of VidBlaster is equal to the studio edition. There are basically 4 levels to VidBlaster. There's the starter edition, which is called the home edition, which is $195 US. There's the pro edition, $495 US. There is the studio edition, $995 US, and the broadcast edition, $1995 US. You can go to vidblaster.com, the corporate website, and there's a product comparison table there, and you can sort of see which features are included in the upper versions. But the API, which is required for the MIDI controls, starts in the studio version. So it's available in the studio version and the broadcast version, the 2 top versions. But the trial version is one of the top 2 versions. The only difference is it has a little watermark, right up here in the corner of the screen. And so anybody, and in fact, I think I did a show 3 or 4 weeks ago with the trial edition. And so there's a watermark on, and you can see it. It's not too bad. It kind of advertises VidBlaster. And it's free, there's no restriction to it. It does everything the studio edition will do, except it has the watermark on it. So if you've got a Korg Nano Control keyboard or any kind of MIDI device that you can hook up to your PC, you can control the PC with the MIDI device. Now you'll need a little piece of helper software called Mono MIDI, which I think is available as a download, might be in the VidBlaster wiki, which is wiki.vidblaster.com, wiki.vidblaster.com. And I think that would be the way to get into the MIDI. Now, the kind of parallel to the idea of using a separate MIDI controller with VidBlaster, parallel to that is what we just announced last week, which is the macro function in VidBlaster, which is also excuse me, the words just get all jumbled up. The macro version, which is also available just in the studio and broadcast versions because it uses the API, and the API is only available in studio and broadcast versions. So both the MIDI controller and the macro functions rely on the API, and that's where that comes from. But the API is really a lot of fun. If you haven't played with it, give it a go. If you've got a MIDI control, it can be a lot more fun. Well, actually now with the macro control, you're just pressing the keys on the keyboard and making it do all sorts of things too. So that is new with VidBlaster. And let's see. There's a question in the chat room. It says, is it possible to demo the replay playlist? That's from Sheldon Neal with Slice TV in Kansas City. And Sheldon, I'm not sure if you're asking me to demo that now or if you want to demo it yourself. If you have got, I'm not sure which version of VidBlaster, which edition of VidBlaster you're running, whether you're running Pro or Studio. But if you have a PC that has not had VidBlaster installed on it, you can download the trial to that PC and it will run as the studio version and you can play with it to your heart's content. You know, do it on your girlfriend's laptop or something like that. And that will be a great way to do it. I'll see if we can't take a second here in just a minute and see if I can. I hate to do that. You know, I'm really game for doing a lot of things live, but I would not want to set the playlist up for live because I've set up in fact, in preparation for today's show, I made up a profile that basically just does instant replay. So it's, you know, 4 cameras in, 4 replay sources, the replay controller, a preview, and a program monitor, and then the replay controller module that is really kind of the heart of that whole thing. And I was going to do a demo on that one, and I don't think that'll work at all well live. If you were looking over my shoulder, it would be great, but I don't. You know, I've seen those shows where people show a camera over the guy's shoulder showing what he's doing on the screen, and it just, I don't want to go there. Okay, let's see. Paul is asking, have I ever used Viper instead of Skype? I am not familiar with Viper. If you would put a link to Viper in the chat, I would love to have a look at that. And Boris says, can we see your lighting set up again? Let's see what I've got for cameras that are functional. You remember I had camera issues. I think I've got one camera that is usable. Let's see if I can find it. That's going to be one of the Ospreys here. Figure out which one it is. Yeah, there we go. All right, bear with me for just a second, and I'm going to take this cam where I can show you the lighting setup. And basically, oh, you're going to love this. I mean, if you're on a budget, this is the only way to do it. And that's everything I do is on a budget. So bear with me just a second. I'm going to switch cams. And there's the desktop. Let me get that lower third off. And I'm going to grab that cam and show you my lighting. I'm going to be a little out of mic reach, so bear with me here just a second. Okay, what that is a series of, and I'll turn them off so you can see them better. Nothing fancy, really. Just the old Walmart shop lights. They're about $5 a piece, and they're hanging on a pole. And I've got two of those. One on, whoops, I better turn that light on. You can see how the chroma key kind of loses a little bit of an effect. Gets a little fuzzy down here in the corner right there without the lighting. And so I've got 3 of those to my left, 3 of those to my right. Of the 3 on my left, 2 of them point towards the green screen, and 1 of them points towards me. And then the same thing on my right, 2, a top one and the bottom one, are pointing on the green screen, and the middle one points on me. And then I have a light that is directly over my head and about 5 feet behind me at the ceiling, which again is one of those ring lights, and that's what gives me the kind of the little halo effect. You just thought I was an angel, but no, it's just artificial light on my head and my shoulders, and that helps separate me from the green screen. And a lot of times when people are having trouble getting separation, it's because they need that backlight. And then I have one more light directly ahead of me, about a 45-degree angle, that just takes away some of the shadows here in the front. And so that gives me, I think, pretty decent lighting. I have to be careful if I, raise my hand, because all of a sudden I've shaded my face, I've shaded my shirt, or if I get, well, that's not too bad. Sometimes I'll forget and stack boxes up behind me, and the boxes end up being in the green screen. But that's lighting. And at some point, when I have some other fancy stuff going on, I'll do another studio tour and kind of update you guys on what's going on in the studio. Let's see. API question now or on call-in? Alan, why don't you hold that question? We'll take that on the air here live in just a few minutes. And George says the camera is on the Logitech for Business website. Ah, okay, good. That's good to know. Amnon wants to know when the playlist is going to get put back in. And what he's referring to is the video playlist is a great feature in version 2 that allows you to take a series of videos or audios and have them play back to back to back to back using the player as kind of the machine to play them. And basically you tell the player, hey, don't just play this video, I want you to play this playlist. And then on the playlist you say, hey, here are all these videos I want you to play, or here's a folder that's got videos in it that I want you to play. And the player does that. The player was rewritten from the ground up for version 3 in order to make it more streamlined, more efficient. And that process is not yet completed because all the features haven't been added into the player yet. And one of the features that's missing, or at least it was missing, let's see if it's here because this is a new version today. See if we've got an opportunity for a playlist. Don't see it. So, as of this very moment, I don't think that feature has been added back, but that's one of the things that I'm going to be asking a question on real quick as to when it comes back, because I've got some customers that are waiting for that feature to be added into version 3 before they buy. Well, in this case, it's going to be to buy a version upgrade. Let's see. How far away is the green screen? The green screen is that far away. I can almost touch it. I'm touching it right now. So I'd say it is between 4 and 5 feet away, or 3 to 4. This is probably 3 feet from chest to fingertip, because I'm 6 feet tall from wingtip. I'm 6 feet tall, and from wingtip to wingtip, I'm 6 feet. So it's probably between 3 and 4 feet away, and that's important for getting separation and having a good key. Let's see. There was another question here. Let's see if I missed that question. Oh, Boris is saying, I see you use fluorescent bulbs. What wattage? That's a great question, because this kind of the quote-unquote standard wattage of the bulbs I didn't think was great enough, so I had to go track these down. And I think they're 28 watts. Let's take a quick look over here, and bear with me, and we'll take a look. And these suckers are hot. You can tell what a difference it makes by taking that one bulb off that was pointed at me. And this is $23 watt, which I think is either 100 or 125 watt equivalent so far as lumens is concerned. And as you probably recall and already know, lumens is the measurement of the light. And so, if you're shopping for lights and you're using 100 watt incandescents and they're running you out of your studio because they're producing so much heat and you want to switch over to fluorescence, check the lumens. That's what's going to tell you if you have as much light as you need. All right. Amnon said he's got professional lights on eBay, and I'm jealous. I just wish I had the big budget that Amnon has for that kind of stuff. And somebody else is asking, this is Green Bean Productions. Is that it? Green Bean? Green Butter? Oh, golly, I'm sorry. It was back in the top of the chat and it scrolled away. Anyway, it says that in my store, it says that VidBlaster is not compatible with Windows 8, but he's using Windows 8 now with VidBlaster. So what's the deal? Well, that's a great question. VidBlaster has not been approved by VidBlaster for Windows 8. That is, VidBlaster does not officially support use in Windows 8. So if you've got a problem, you're not going to get the support from VidBlaster Corporate because it's not usable for Windows 8. And it seems to be a kind of an audio mismatch. Somehow it starts with the audio player or the audio module. And, if you're not using the audio module, then I don't think it's been an issue. And that's, I'm looking up right now on my screen to see, and it's going to be interesting. Maybe the audio module is not necessary anymore, because I forgot to, in all the excitement in pre-show, I forgot to enable that with the proper audio driver, so it's just sitting there dead. But you guys can hear me, and the recorder is recording, so I'm obviously streaming and I'm recording, and that's really all I care about is streaming and recording. So maybe the audio module is not necessary. That's interesting. We'll have to play with that some more. Great question, though. Appreciate the good question. That's super. And one of the beauties about questions is that if you don't know the answer, and you ask somebody in a forum like this, not only do you get the benefit of the answer, but all the other folks that weren't brave enough to ask the same question get the benefit of the answer as well. So that's a big benefit there. And I see that Gene has joined us. That John has joined us. Welcome. Glad to have you. And we'll catch you up on that. And one of the folks in the chat room says, get a Mac. And in fact, there's a nice video that just popped up on YouTube in the last week or so with somebody that's actually using VidBlaster on their Mac through I think they call it a virtual machine or something like that ran XP, and it was flawless. So I'll try to put a link to that in the show notes for this too. Mac link. So that you can see that, because that really was kind of notable, and opens up that world for Mac folks as well. Matthew is asking, how much do I spend a month for Dacast? Dacast is my streaming provider, my CDN, Content Delivery Network, and it's spelled D-A-C-A-S-T, Dacast.com, and I'm on their beginner plan. Well, I guess maybe they don't call it a beginner plan. Maybe it's the basic plan. But it's depending on how many months at a time I buy. I can buy a whole year's worth, or 3 months, or just a month to month. It costs me between $19 and $29 for 100 gigabytes of bandwidth a month. And currently I'm using that only for streaming. I'm not using it for video on demand. I'm just uploading to YouTube for now to do video on demand. I've been real satisfied with the cast. I mean, it's not fancy. Well, I take that back. They do have pay-per-view, and they do offer subscriptions. So if you're looking for something like that, it's a good option. And I think they have a 10 gigabyte trial version that you can use. I was talking with Mike about that earlier today. And it's worth giving a shot. And if you want to pay a year in advance, I think it's going to cost you $20 a month. Don't quote me on the price, but it's somewhere in that ballpark. That's Dacast.com, and they seem to be good people. They won't give me any kind of kickbacks, but they still seem to be good people. Let's see. Other questions in the chat room. Tommy House is going to try to run it on a Mac. Tommy, we should have talked about that the other day. And Andrew S. says, the audio module is necessary to use the streamer if you're not using Flash Media Live Encoder to bring in the audio. Great point, Andrew. And what Andrew is referring to is the fact that for this show today, I am using Flash Media Live Encoder, version 3.2, which is a free download from Adobe. And that is doing the encoding of the audio and the video. And so basically I'm just telling VidBlaster, hey, don't send out, don't try to encode this yourself or do anything like that. Just put a virtual video stream out there. And then I tell Flash Media Live Encoder, capture that virtual video stream. Oh, and by the way, go get the audio from my mixer directly and broadcast. And I like doing that because I have a lot more control and can tweak different settings in Flash Media Live Encoder to give me what I want in terms of the stream that you guys get to see and the audio that you get to hear. But if you want to do all that within VidBlaster and not have to fuss with Flash Media Live Encoder, you can do that. And that's where the audio module in VidBlaster is important, because then VidBlaster is looking to the audio module to tell it where to find the audio source for the recording. And for the streaming, for that matter. So that's a good thought. Let's see. And Matthew is saying, do you think that there would be enough for church streaming 2 services at about an hour and 30 minutes a week? Matthew, that's a great question, and it's kind of like an algebra question. And in that case, there's a variable that we need to fill in the answer to, which is streaming is based not just on the amount of bandwidth that I send out, but also on the amount of bandwidth of sending that stream out to all the different folks that want to view. So if you have an audience of, 30 to 40 people for an hour and a half once a week, you could probably do it on a basic plan. Probably would be less than 100 gigabytes a month. But if you have an audience of, say, 100 or 200 people a week, which of course is exactly what we want to have lots and lots of folks watching, you're going to pay more for that. One of the advantages, I think, to Dacast is that they will automatically, kind of move you into the next category, and they won't just cut you off. Or you'll have to check with them. I think they've got the option. You can either be cut off in mid-broadcast, or you can just bump into the next category for that month, or something like that. Somebody in the chat room is saying that they do have a bandwidth calculator on their website. But I think, again, you need to know how many folks are watching, because most of the bandwidth is coming from them to the viewer, as opposed from you as the broadcaster to the cast, although both pieces of that bandwidth are counted. Tell you what, I'm going to put the phone number here in the chat, so that anybody that wants to call in can give us a call, and we'll take questions over the air. And I apologize to folks that are watching on YouTube, but we're not going to put that number on YouTube, because I don't want to get calls in the middle of the night from somebody in Australia who says, "Blimey, bloke, we got to get cracking here." Okay, so let's see if we can get that posted in chat. And we're going to basically take our Samsung Galaxy and we'll turn up the volume on that and make sure that I've got volume there. So let's try this. Can you hear that?
Hi, yes. My name is Bianca.
Oh, yeah. I heard that. That was a little loud. Okay. So we'll be taking calls now. And it looks like we've got a caller here. Let's see who we've got. Welcome to That VidBlaster Guy. Who am I talking to?
You got Good Shepherd Al here. How you doing, Tom?
Al, great to hear from you. Folks, this is Alan Bunt from Good Shepherd United Methodist?
Oh, it's Good Shepherd Lutheran.
Lutheran, my bad. Sorry, that was ultimate insult.
That's okay.
And Alan was our very second guest on this show way back in, what was it, like July of last year? Or June
Something
of
like
last
that,
year?
Yeah. It's been a while.
And the show that Alan and I did together has been the most popular show that we have had of all the shows that we've done on That VidBlaster Guy in terms of views on YouTube. So if you're interested in finding out about church broadcasting, Alan takes you through his whole setup there at Good Shepherd and shares all his secrets. It's great. It's like YouTube video number 2 or number 3. It was one of the early ones we did. Well, Al, what's going on?
We'll have to do a version 2 one of these days when I get all my upgrading done here, which is coming up this year.
Looking forward to it.
On that note, it's been a couple years since I've tried anything new, and now with the new version 3 and all these macros, and I'm just going gangbusters. And I've come across a question for the API.
Okay.
And I'm wondering, trying to, put some, for church broadcasting, trying to put some good uses of the macros so that to simplify it from our operators. And I'm wondering, what kind of command for specifically for the, it used to be the video effect, now it's just the effects module, on what kind of commands I give it to select which effect I'm using. There's, in the help file and in the wiki, it's showing the background, the cuts on all the sources, and the transition. It's not giving a API write command for choosing which effect you want to use, whether picture-in-picture or side-by-side. And I'm wondering if anybody's heard about that yet, or if it's even implemented. Did I lose you?
Yeah. Yeah. Al, I don't have a clue.
Uh-oh, I stumped Tom. That's not good.
Well, you got to remember, I am not a creator of information. I am a purveyor of information. I take information from people that know and pass it along to other people so that they can know. But I don't create anything along the way. I'm just a bus stop for info.
You're a user, not a creator, right?
I am a user and abuser. That's right. That's right. But I'm sure there's somebody there, either in chat or somewhere, that can answer that question. I mean, all right, lays the question out one more time. Let's make sure we've got it.
Is there an API write command for the effect module to select which effect you're going to use? For instance, a picture-in-picture or a side-by-side view, separate from the selecting the sources in the background.
Good question. Good question. Don't know the answer.
So I figured I'd join the show today and ask in the chat room here first before I put a question out on the forum. So because you guys are top of the line, this is what gets me into the macros was you, Tom. So.
Well, yeah, that's right. Blame it on me, Alan. If it doesn't work, blame it on Tom. That's the way it goes. And you know,
I can confirm for you.
Yeah.
That the problem with the recorder versus version 3.09 is repaired. It does work now.
Ah, okay.
The APA write command to start and stop the recorder does work now.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's one we bumped into last week. Yes. Good. Thank you, Alan. Great deal. So you win the Stump Tom contest. Very good. Very good.
I got a tip for you if you're interested.
Ah, what's up?
In the macro box when you were editing macros, did you know you can go highlight that line and right-click it and pull up an editor?
No way.
A little easier to work with. Yep.
No. Oh.
Instead of having to figure out where you're at in the command line.
You know, I saw that.
Editor and
I saw that in the picture, and I couldn't figure out how to get into it.
You have to highlight it first.
Oh, you have to highlight it. Okay.
And then right-click it.
Okay. And so you could go Control A to highlight everything, and then right-click, and that would get you into the macro. Not exactly intuitive, but I guess once you know it, then it'll work.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you use your mouse, if you left-click on it once, it turns the block gray. If you right-click it from there, it'll pull it right up there.
Gotcha. Okay.
So it'll pull up a separate dialog that has the editor in it, and it lists everything by line, so you can cut and paste a lot easier.
Okay.
That's what I use it for. So.
Great question.
That's my tip of the day for everybody. Very
good. Well, you brought me good news about the recorder, that we can now use the recorder in the macros, because see, I want to hit a button, and I want to start the recorder, I want to start the player, and I want to switch to the effect module so that I can start my show with one button.
It works.
I mean,
I can do it.
You can do it, and I can't.
Yep.
That's not fair. You need to get your own show.
I got one. It's every Sunday morning.
That's right. You've got a good gig, indeed. And boy, with the retirement benefits, that's awesome.
Yes, definitely.
Indeed.
I got to run, Tom. I got to get back on the work phone here. So,
all right, Al.
Thanks for your show. You're awesome, and
you're a champ.
You know,
and
even with your troubles here, you're doing an awesome job.
Yeah, thank you. Nothing like a little humility. We'll get together on another show. Thanks.
Okay. Very good.
All right.
Talk later.
All right, that was Alan Bunt on the line. Alan is as you can tell, he's a really good guy and knows an awful lot. And if he doesn't know the answer to a question, he's going to dive in and dig until he can find it. Let's see, we've got another caller on the line. Let's see if we can get them on the air. And welcome to that VidBlaster guy.
Well, thank you very much, Tom. This is Charles Campbell.
Dr. Charles Campbell. Welcome, sir.
I'd give you my autograph if I knew how to write.
And it would be worth a bunch. How are you doing? How's the studio coming?
The studio's coming slow but sure. And Time Warner is not my favorite bunch of people.
Yeah?
They put a poll up there, and then the guy went on vacation.
They have one guy?
He's the one who schedules the stuff, and I sent you a copy of the email they sent me. Remember that?
Oh, dear. Yeah.
And so, anyway, I have an appointment tomorrow to call the head cheese because I'm sitting down here looking out at the rain and not doing anything productive. Actually, there should be a couple of people on this list today, and I don't see their name, basically because I don't remember their name, that I signed up to do TV programs on their own computer.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, a bunch of guys.
Cool.
And I gave them the information on where they can get VidBlaster. I told them to tune in here if they ever want to learn anything about how to do a television show.
Right.
So,
Well,
I called my wife Honey for 40 years because I can't remember her name, and I don't remember these guys' names either.
well, we remember you, Charles, because you are memorable.
Yeah.
Folks, Dr. Charles Campbell is opening up his own internet TV studio in West Columbia, South Carolina, and is still struggling to get high-speed internet turned on there, but it should happen any day now. And so if you're in the West Columbia area and you're interested in it, you'll want to touch base with him. And as soon as Charles is ready to go. Sir?
Help anybody who's interested wants to set this up. I charge to my clients to set up a TV studio in their own home or their own office.
Okay.
Which is actually pretty good, but I need the studio open so I can get a real room of green screen. I love green screen. Chroma key.
Yes, indeed.
Great stuff. And your lighting and stuff's very good.
Thank you, sir.
It
was cheap.
When you go back to when you first started, you
Yes.
have a glow around your outline.
Yes.
But you're a real pro now. That's
Well,
cool.
and I've also got this great background. Isn't this cool?
I got another one for you. I haven't been able to send it yet.
Well, you need to get internet, Charles. I mean, come on, this is the 23rd century or whatever time it is.
My wife is in hospice, so I spend a lot of time there lately.
That's right.
Looking after her. But anyway, you do a good show, and I've been in broadcasting for 50 years, and we didn't have stuff like this. VidBlaster, if this was 20 years ago, it cost you about $50,000 to have that kind of equipment.
Oh, easy. Yeah. It's not even funny. It's not even fair.
I've got 2 cameras that are big enough that it takes 2 men to carry. Don't use them anymore because they're VGA.
Right.
And I've got some nice Canon stuff that weighs about 6 ounces that gives you high definition. Anyway, I don't want to take up time on the air here. There's other people, I'm sure, waiting in line to get on to have their voices heard.
That's right. Great to talk to you, Charles. Take care.
Nice talking to you. Bye.
Bye-bye. That was Dr. Charles Campbell calling from West Columbia, South Carolina. And, my apologies to my live international viewers, and we probably need to do some sort of Skype number so you guys can Skype in. The only reason that we're really doing it this way is because I'm just enamored with this whole idea that you can take a cell phone and bring your calls into, anybody can be called on a cell phone, but the connector that we're using for this, we're just plugging into the, sorry about the pop there. We're just plugging into the mic port, the speaker port on the top of this camera, on the top of the phone, and the device that we're using is the simple cable that comes with a Canon Handycam, and this plugs into the AV jack on the Handycam, and on the other end of it are 3 RCA jacks, a red, a yellow, and a white. And we use the yellow for the mic, and the red for the speaker, and the white is sort of left over. But it's really pretty cool, and it's a great way and inexpensive. I think I ordered one of these cables by accident. Well, I didn't order it by accident. I ordered it off eBay. It cost $6 or $5 or something like that. And now, and when I got it, I realized, I've got a bunch of these because they come with every camera that I buy. Anyway, it was kind of fun. So thanks to Al and Charles for calling in today, and we'll try to make a way for some of our international friends to call in on some other shows. And apparently there's some concerns because you can't see the lower third. Yeah, I need to do a better planning on that. Planning is not my thing. It's almost like Wednesday shows up, and I've got all these great things that I wanted to share with you and talk about, and then I run into a gremlin like I can today, and I don't have my prep work done. But it has been we are out of time. It's been my treat to be with you today. If you're here with us live, stick around for the after show. If you missed the first part of the show, we'll have it uploaded to YouTube later on. And if you're watching on YouTube and you want to watch us live, we're on live every Wednesday at 3 o'clock Eastern, 8 o'clock United Kingdom time. I think. I'm not good with time zones. But it's www.thatvidblasterguy.com. If you have a question about VidBlaster, you can use the contact form on the website to shoot me a note. I'd be happy to chat with you. I'm an authorized VidBlaster reseller, and so I can sell VidBlaster to you. I can help you with upgrades, and if you want, we can even build you a custom VidBlaster broadcast box. And that's lots of fun. So until next time, good VidBlasting. Thanks, and we will see you later.